Well, hello again. This time, as the more perceptive of you may be able to guess, I am not in my office in Wheaton, neither am I in my office in Adyar. In fact, I'm not in an office at all. I'm on the terrace at the location where the 100th annual convention of the Italian section is being held. I was invited to be one of the speakers here probably more than a year ago now, long prior to any sort of thoughts or possibilities of international presidentship. But I'm here with this highly functional, wonderful group of people here in Italy. So rather than say hello, I'm going to say buongiorno d'Italia, where I am just being wonderfully hosted. Very, very high energy encounter here, very good group. So the background is one of the many ancient churches here. I've learned quite a bit about Italian architecture and history in my short stay in the city of Vicenza. I will be going on to Venice in a couple of days. But I'm not going to be telling you too much about that because that actually will be included in next month's presidential blog. This month we have enough things to cover with going from India to Miami to Olcott to the Americas. So this month started off with me in India, where I was for about three and a half weeks or so, immediately following the elections. I'll show you some footage from our actual inauguration, which took place on White Lotus Day, May 8th. From there I traveled to Miami Beach, actually, where we were coming for the Florida Federation, which always brings together a group of old friends, people I've been involved with in the Theosophical Society for many, many years now. From that back to Olcott and to our InterAmerican Theosophical Federation, which was a super high energy affair hosted at Olcott for all of the different groups from the Americas, largely from Latin America. So many, many countries were represented there, and you'll get a chance to see some of that. So once again, d'Italia, buongiorno, living la dolce vita. So on May 8th, White Lotus Day, was the official inauguration ceremony, which was held in the main hall at Adyar. It was a very formal ceremony, complete with flower offerings that was made to the in front of the statues of Olcott and HPB. Beautiful ceremony, really. People lined up and each took a little handful of flowers and placed it before the statues. Also, there was an opportunity after the ceremony. Many presents were given and scarves were put over my shoulders, honorific sorts of affairs. So that was something that was all very, very good, and I was draped in every sort of fabric you could imagine. From there I went to Miami, directly from Chennai, where we had the Florida Federation meeting, which took place over a 3-day period there. Florida is always a place where I get together with old friends. Here you see Nori Rao and Navin Shaw, two longtime members of the Florida area. Navin actually hails from East Africa. Steve Schweitzer and his wife Karen. The program featured Terry Hunt and David Bruce, our National Secretary. All of us had an opportunity to address the group. Probably close to 100 people attended over the course of the 2-3 days. The Federation's board also met. From there, it was back to a triumphal welcome at Olcott, where they really laid out the red carpet for my return. My daughter Angelique also was there to greet me. And we also welcomed in this month the newest addition to the family, Penelope, Jessica Salatek's daughter, who is now 1 month old, was greeted at the place. Our next order of business was the IATF, the InterAmerican Theosophical Federation, which we prepared for about 2 years now. Simultaneous translation was provided throughout in 2 different languages. Our opening night opened with representatives from 14 different countries. We did the prayers of various religions and had an opportunity to just hear from numerous people. Featured speakers were Magali Polanco from Puerto Rico, Ricardo Lindemann from Brazil. We also had Lisette Arroyo, who came from Mexico. Martin Lederman, who is out in California, but like many of these people, travels the world. I also had a spot to address the gathering. We had Isis Resende, who also spoke to us from Brazil. She's going to be in Holland and in Paris, probably. Carlos Gogel from Honduras, someone who I was just meeting for the first time. And our Vice President, Mahendra Singhal, was there. Each morning began with meditation, led by various different people, depending on the morning. But overall, it was a time for interaction among the people. It was a time for invitations where many people came into our home and had a chance to just kind of gather and drink tea, talk. Here the Mexican group was there, and this is with some of the good folks from Puerto Rico. I think everybody can say that they had fun at various times during this time we had together. Many people got a chance to take the mic, my wife making a rare announcement. And it was a time for some of the great thinkers of the Latin American and American world to get together. In case you think it was just all about talking and listening, no better than that. There were also time for good eating and social get-togethers. And sweets were not ignored. There was a special tea that was given on one of the afternoons. My wife Lily had organized it, and many people pitched in to make it happen. Our dining hall was done up in first-rate splendor with flower petals all on the tables. We had music provided by Anita Carbonell Jr., who tickled the ivory, and it was a lively crew. As much as it was a time of talking about various theosophical ideas, it was also a time for making friends and renewing old friendships. People came from around the world, looked forward to seeing each other. Here, Sashi Singhal from India with my wife, very colorful pair. But one of the things that really characterized it was a sense of fun, a sense of warmth, and a sense of really being happy to be in each other's presence. As well as old friends, there were some very new acquaintances that were made during the course of this. Actually, some of the newest people that we have came from little tiny kids. Here, Matthew, who was born, I think 1 month earlier than Dharma. You've already saw Penelope, so the place is filling up with kids. They had an opportunity to kind of get to know each other and feel each other out so that they can see what the future holds for them. Many people came from Cuba this time. Here you have the old and the young, or the older and the younger, but just a variety of people. Variety of people had to do an awful lot of work to make this happen. Primary among them was Elvira Carbonell, who organized and did a lot of the registration. Chris Bolger and his staff were behind the scenes. Often it was a little bit difficult. Here you see Steve Schweitzer at the end of the day. Poor Steve. Our kitchen staff really rose to the occasion. It was a difficult time, and James Lefevre, as well as Kathy, Cora Barlin and her daughter, Anne all did yeoman service in there. And then there was just volunteers. Here you see crew from Mexico just happily doing the dishes. So in all, it was about 65, 70 people who came from all across the Americas. Not to be just focused on study. We had fun night, cross-cultural evening. Puerto Rico presented. Here you have the Brazilians presenting a samba performance. We had comedic, dramatic poetry, which was, some of the things were quite funny and quite unexpected. We had songs, we had poetry readings from Cuba. We even had a magic act, which was done by yours truly. Some would say it might not be so magical, but I enjoyed myself. Here you have Eduardo Carbonell as well. And then we had a chorus, which I can't even describe. I can't fully say what happened. And then we had the Mexican crew, presenting typical dance. There was also a meeting and election of the governing body for the IATF, the Inter-American Federation, which took place in our Kern conference room above our library. And here you see the members of that committee, and you also see them standing here in a photo taken at the library. And we closed up with the panel of the various speakers commenting on different subjects. After the conference, we had a visit, Lily and I did, from members of Greenheart and IONS and the ITP, Integral Transformation Process. I leave you with some photos of sunrise in Miami.